The clay technique that we're going to use today is called a pinch pot. And a pinch pot will be made out of a block of clay about this size. It starts off as a big block, 25-pound bag of clay that I cut down into smaller pieces. So you'll get your block like this, and the biggest thing with clay is to not let it dry out too soon or too quickly. You want to make sure when you are working with it, you only have it in your hands for a certain amount of time so that it doesn't dry out or crack while it's being worked on. So when you get your chunk of clay, you're going to go ahead and take it and start to turn it into a ball. And of course, you can use your hands to roll it around and kind of gently put some pressure on it to morph it into a ball. And the goal is to keep the clay not in the air and not out of our hands, but you can use the clay board. And that board is obviously going to keep your table clean. So we're going to use that clay board, and you can use it to kind of roll the clay. A lot of times that works best in your hand like this. So make a ball. And then the reason it's called a pinch pot is because the technique has been around for a very, very long time. And you take the clay and you put a hole in it. And that hole is only going to be so far down. If we put it all the way through the pinch pot, then we have a donut. We're not looking for a donut, we're looking for a little cup. So we'll take our clay. If there's a few little bumps or cracks or something, it's not really a big deal at this point because we're going to be moving it around in our hands a lot and we don't want to over dry the clay. So find a spot where it looks like it could be the center of the ball. You're going to take your thumb and we're going to press that into the hole or into the center to make a hole. Once you press down, it should go about as far as your knuckle. Now obviously everybody's fingers are different lengths, so it's not going to be the exact same length, but basically you just don't want to go through and you don't want to have it too close to the top of your clay like this. So pinch pot. The reason it's called that is because of the technique. We are literally going to take our thumb and our fingers and we're going to pinch them together gently like this. So you press the clay together between your fingers like this. And when you're doing that, it's going to be a slow process. So we pinch together and then we turn it. And then we pinch and then we turn it. And you do that over and over and over again. So I'm pinching and turning. And we're not trying to take the clay and just pull the clay open. We're trying to pinch the bottom part so it's the same thickness all the way around. So we're not literally like trying to stretch the clay open. We're just trying to pinch the bottom part to the same thickness. So pinch and turn and pinch and turn. And since this clay is so fresh, it's literally straight out of a new block of clay that's been sitting and sealed up so the moisture stays in, it's going to change pretty quickly. But we never want to pinch too fast at the top. So notice how that got a lot wider already just through that process. So you're going to keep going and pinch and turn. And I always put this clay kind of in the palm of my other hand. So this is my writing hand and this is not. So I hold on to it like this. So that way I can use the strength of my writing hand to pinch the clay around. Now it does not have to be a perfectly round cup or perfectly round little vase. So it's just to get the process started. But what I do want you to notice is how thick the top rim is right now. Obviously the bumpiness and lumpiness needs to get a little bit more smoothed out. So what we're going to do next is gently pinch kind of in the center of the wall of the pinch pot. So I'm not all the way down at the bottom anymore. I'm sort of in the center here. And then as we get that figured out, then we'll pinch the top of it. And it's kind of cool because then the height of your cup or your vase starts to get a lot taller. And that's going to be really important for our next step. So I'm not pinching really hard. In fact, I don't think I'm even putting a lot of pressure on the clay. It just happens in my hand. And around and around and around and around. Once you get all of the walls even, about as thick as an Oreo cookie, then we're going to make sure that we've got all the edges kind of smoothed. And notice that the mouth or the rim of the cup here is really, really, really wavy. That could be kind of a cool technique to use in your project. But to make it nice and flat, we're just going to gently take it and tap it on the mat. Like that. And that way it's a nice round or flat edge. Now because we are making a cup or a vase, we're going to make this flat as well. So we don't want it to be like wobbly and tipsy, right? So we're going to go like this. And at this point I can still see there's a little bit of change that needs to be happening, so I could just set it here, and now I'm going to roll it or turn it on my mat, almost like I'm using a clay wheel. That's your job. Your job is to make a pinch pot today, and we'll talk about how to store it and put it away for the next day.